What's up, you bad motherfuckers? What are we doing today, boys? Huh? What are we up to today? It's the start of the weekend. We're wrapping up our full first week of In the Jar live. And we got some football to talk about. We got the Eagles, Cowboys to talk about. We got Dak Prescott and Jalen Carter to talk about. We got a game tonight in Brazil that we got to talk about. Okay? All the media pundits are spouting off their opinions this morning, this fine morning. It's still morning time in Phoenix. But this is the only place, one of the only places, where you're going to get the real. It's a Friday. What's the deal? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I was just shocked. Okay? Here's what's cool. Here's what's cool about last night's game. I had practice with my Pop Warner kids around 6 p.m. local time in Phoenix. And I expressed my concern on the show yesterday because I thought I was only going to get to watch a small portion of the Eagles-Cowboys game. But what I was overjoyed to see on my phone midway through Pop Warner practice, much to the dismay of many others, was that the game was postponed due to lightning in Philadelphia. And so, turns out you got a 2-hour Pop Warner practice that you think is going to take up the entire course of the football game. You end up not missing much when you factor in halftime and the thunder lightning delay. So that was cool. Got to watch more of the game than I thought I would. Still got to go back and watch the all-22 film. So we're probably going to spend Saturday watching the film from the Cowboys game, watching the film from tonight's Kansas City Chiefs, LA Chargers game. If you guys didn't see, score was 24-20 last night. My prediction of the Eagles winning by 2 scores was wrong. Had a chance to be right at times, but anybody who took that Eagles minus 8.5 points rendered a sucker today. You understand what I'm saying? So you get 2, really, I think the first 4 possessions, 2 for the Eagles, 2 for the Cowboys. You got 2 Jalen Hurts touchdowns, 2 Javonte Williams touchdowns, 4 possessions, 4 touchdowns, 14-14. And now the third quarter is the part of the game that I have not gotten to see yet, the majority of the third quarter. It seemed to me that A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith were non-factors in this game. It seemed to me that Jalen Hurts was going to Dallas Goedert a lot. It seemed to me that at times the Cowboys stuck their heels in the ground and said, hey, we're not going to allow Saquon Barkley to run rampant on us like he ran on the entire league for 2005 rushing yards last season. I was impressed with the fight that the Dallas Cowboys put up defensively. It was not enough. The fact that Jalen Carter, the biggest game breaker that we have in professional football today, was out of the game, ended up being a non-factor. So how did the Cowboys manage to still lose this game? This was a golden opportunity for Dallas to topple the world champs on a night where they have a banner ceremony, on the night where everybody's fired up to have football back. How did Dallas squander this opportunity? And my only answer is they're still Dallas. They're still the same old Cowboys. You're hearing that in the media a lot this morning, and I do believe that to be fact. The Cowboys are going to cowboy. Jerry Jones is cool, man. He's sitting up in the press box with his Jack and Coke, watching as his organization continues to be the most valuable franchise in football. People are going to still continue to talk about the Dallas Cowboys, whether they're 16-0 or 17-0 or 0-17. Jerry's got it made, man. Jerry's going to be fine. But on the field, the Cowboys had a golden opportunity to shake things up. They had the ball late in the game. They had CeeDee Lamb wide ass open on, I think it was a post route. It was some kind of deep shot. And again, we called it on the show yesterday. The Cowboys needed some shot plays to keep them in the game. And unfortunately, ball goes right through CeeDee Lamb's hands, who most people assume to be a top 5 receiver in the league. In a big moment, the ball goes right through his hands. Hey, props to Dak. He put the ball right where he needed to. That play that was really late, I believe it was that fourth down that they went for it. I think it was that fourth down where they went for it. You know, Dak put it out there a little too long for him. But again, Lamb had a chance to catch it. He laid out flat, and the ball did go through his hands. Here's the thing about the game tonight. Again, it's week 1. It's early in the year. We're playing this game in Brazil for God knows why. Everybody knows why. We're trying to expand the game. We're trying to make football an international sport. I respect that endeavor. But the players don't like playing in Brazil. They don't like sitting up in the hotel room the whole time because the area is so ridden with crime. Okay, the players don't like these international games. There's so many factors around it that are anti-player. But again, I understand it. You're trying to grow the game internationally. You're trying to spread awareness of the game. But hey, just get these motherfuckers to put it on their TV. Maybe if you're the NFL, start up a sweepstakes to fly some German folks out to a game in Pittsburgh. Insane travel time to the players. 2 hours to the stadium as well. So even though the international games are largely pro football awareness, it's anti-player. Okay? And I'm sure what the commissioner, the way he looks at it is, well, the players, they just need to make this sacrifice for the greater good of the game. That's fine. But there's other ways you can do it. These international games, nobody really enjoys them. And then you factor in that a lot of these games in London or Munich or wherever the hell else they're having these games, Mexico City, wherever the hell else they're having these games, most of the time, especially for some reason, the games in England, the games in Germany are just snooze fest. We're talking Giants, Panthers. or the Jaguars. I remember watching I think the reason they do it that way is because the game is obviously at like, if it's in the UK, it's going to be at like 6 a.m. our time, and ratings are going to be way down. I know that I always miss those international games. I'm lucky to catch the last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter with those international games because they start at 5:30 a.m., 6 a.m. So that's probably why they put the shittiest teams out there. But again, if you're trying to spread awareness for the game, wouldn't you want to, and I'd be pissed if this happened, but I'm just kind of speaking from principle here, wouldn't you want to have, God forbid, Bengals Steelers? Wouldn't you want to have Ravens Steelers? Wouldn't you want to have, Chiefs Raiders? Hell, dude. I'm just thinking about, shout out to Bennett, by the way, hopping in the chat, hanging on the show. Appreciate having you, brother. Yeah, I wasn't expecting to rant about international games, but I guess I'm not surprised due to the fact that we have an international game tonight. And it's not a bad one. It's counter to what I just said. It's a division game, Chiefs Chargers. I believe the spread is only 2.5 points, something like that. So I really don't know what to expect at all. Again, we got a lot of division games to open the year. We got a lot of division games to open week one, as we always do. And we've covered them ad nauseum throughout the week. If you're watching and you're not subscribed, we're live every day on this show. But back to the game last night. This is what I really wanted to focus on. Something happened at the beginning of the football game last night. It is all the media, myself included, want to talk about because it's a bit controversial. The ball was kicked off. One of the white guys for the Eagles gets hurt. He's carted off. You can see this guy. He is pissed. He's pissed as he's getting carted off. He's like, really? One play on the first game of the season and I'm getting carted off? I pray for that guy. I hope he's going to be all right. I hope he's going to be able to strap it back up this year. But whenever someone gets carted off the field, it's typically a sign that they're not going to play again this year. I can't imagine many worse things happening to a player. We saw it with Aaron Rodgers years ago in the Jets-Bills opening game when there was so much hype around him. He runs out with the American flag, and then like the fourth snap of the season, he tears an Achilles and he's done. I can't imagine something shittier than that when you spend a whole offseason preparing, pouring your heart, your soul, your blood, your sweat, your tears into this thing, and then God takes you from the game. It's very frustrating. But during that injury timeout, we had an exchange between the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys and the leader of the Philadelphia Eagles defense. And at a glance, you think to yourself, oh my God, this guy, Jalen Carter, he's back at it again. He's got a bad past. He's kind of rough around the edges. But to me, that's what makes him the great player he is that nastiness. And we see him spitting on Dak Prescott. And so our original thoughts are, dude, what the hell? Smarten up. Your team needs you. Now you're done. You're out of the game. If it's real life, like it or not, the law says that if you spit on somebody, that's assault. Okay? Not one time throughout the entire simulcast of this football game was it mentioned that something, again, I'm not, at no point in this podcast do I want anyone to get the impression that I'm saying Jalen Carter did the right thing. He was wrong to do that. He did not do the right thing for his team in doing that, and I am not condoning what he did. But not one time throughout the entire broadcast of this game did the broadcasters, the announcers mention Dak Prescott's involvement in this whole thing. So let's take a look. Why don't we take a look at it? So this is mid-video here. So I want you guys obviously saw this part. This is the part we all saw. That water boy for the Cowboys is like, dude, what the hell? So here's the exchange, right? He's standing there. They're talking. And this is what I want y'all to see when the end zone angle comes in here. This is what I want y'all to take a look at. Look at this. He's standing behind his two offensive linemen, and he spits right there. He spits at him. And then look at this. Look at this punk. Okay? I wish I tried to get another couple videos on here to show the different angles. This one, it's kind of quick. You got to pay attention, so we're going to loop it a couple times. Might just keep it on screen while we talk. But you look here, right? I'm trying to point the right way. You look here. He's standing behind his two offensive linemen. He's clearly talking already to Jalen Carter. Look, he's hiding behind. Look, and spits at him. Look at that. That's not coincidental. And then the smirk. Look at this. I wish I had more videos around this, because if you play it even slower, he's standing behind his offensive line. I mean, dude, this is punk ass shit. And I'll give it to Dak Prescott. Look, I'm all about doing dirty shit to help your team. I'm all about it. Right? But it has to be behind closed doors. Nobody, Bennett, nobody talked about this shit during the game. Nobody even thought to bring up that something might have provoked Jalen Carter to do this. And again, I am not condoning this by any means. I'm not condoning what Jalen Carter did by any means. But look, Dak is standing behind the comfort of his offensive lineman and spits in his general direction. Okay? And in the presser after, he said, well, I spit all the time. That was not a coincidental, hey, I'm just spitting to spit. No, he's spitting at Jalen Carter and then gives a little smirk after the fact, like, hey, I know you can't do shit, because if you do anything, my boys are going to come get you. Okay, I got 5 of them right here ready to kill you. Okay, Jalen Carter's a beast, but when you get 5 offensive linemen around, 5 pro offensive linemen around, he's probably not going to instigate. And then Dak has the balls to walk out of the huddle and walk up to Jalen Carter. Look, all around, just look at this. Dude, you got all this grass behind you. You could have spit directly down. Listen, man, I don't even, when I'm sitting in traffic, let's say I got a Zen in my lip and it's hitting me a little too hard and I need to spit it out. Let's say I'm sitting next to someone in traffic at a stoplight. I will wait. I will swallow that motherfucker and get the hiccups before I spit out of my car window to even have a chance of looking like I'm spitting at somebody in traffic. Because it is Arizona, people have guns, and road rage is a big thing here. But also, it's just out of respect. I don't want someone to think that I'm even spitting in their direction. So, I think Dak deserves to be apprehended for this. And the media is doing a good job of it. I'm obviously talking about it right now. There's no reason to be Like, there's no, look at this. That's not, dude, like, that's not coincidental. And he's trying to play dumb in the pressers after and say, oh, I spit all the time. I spit hundreds of times. You could have spit in any direction. You could have, right here, you could have turned around, spit down in that space in the huddle right there, and just kept about your business. But again, this is the thing with punks, okay? This is the thing with punks. They know, the reason they're punks is because they know that their behavior is not going to, they're not going to be held accountable for their behavior, and God forbid, and this is what happened last night, they're going to benefit from their behavior. And the Cowboys did benefit. They took out the Eagles' best player before a snap was even played. And they did so without having to injure him. And there's so many people, dude, there's so many people on Twitter this morning defending Dak. There's so many people viciously defending Dak on Twitter. Listen, I prefaced it. I'm going to say it again. I don't condone what Jalen Carter did. But when you're on the playground and a little punk kid is getting in your grill about something, he starts it. You know, your little brother, he starts it, and you finish it. I'm not a parent. I don't have kids. But let's say God blesses me and I have two boys, okay? Growing up in my household, I was the older brother. And I love my little brother to death, but he's a little goddamn antagonizer sometimes. Or he was when we were kids. And so what do you do when somebody's testing you, when somebody's talking sideways, when somebody's and then ha 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 ha, what do? You finish it. Okay? And listen, football's a team sport. It's all about the team. Jalen Carter hurt his team by finishing it. But this is the problem, not just in a big brother, little brother dynamic, but in football. And this is frankly, a problem that I benefited from in football, because I knew that if I started something and nobody saw me start it, and then I got the guy to finish it, it's going to be bare minimum 15 for me and my boys. I just benefited from being a dirty little shit. I'm outing myself like crazy right now because I'm shitting on Dak, and I'm basically saying that, you know, we used to do stuff like that because we knew in a football game that the guy that finishes the altercation is the guy that's going to get flagged, the guy that's going to get ejected. So it's on Jalen Carter here to not take the bait. And it might have been a veteran move by Dak. I think Dak knew exactly what he was doing the whole time. Okay? It's the NFL. There's cameras all around. I just don't know how Dak didn't think that this was going to be caught on camera and that he was going to be outed for being a little punk. But that's what Dak was in this exchange. He was a little punk. So I just look. I can't tolerate the slander that Jalen Carter's been getting on Twitter this morning. They're bringing up his legal issues from Georgia. They're saying he's a terrible person. They're saying he's going to HE double hockey sticks anyway because of what he did. I think what happened in this game last night is that when that happened, everybody jumped to a conclusion that it was just Jalen Carter being a mean piece of shit. Excuse my French. Based on his past, based on his demeanor. And nobody thought, I didn't even think to say, well, what provoked that? What provoked that? So I think if you want to remove stuff like this from the game entirely, you got to penalize the antagonizers. And again, this is contrary to how I carried myself in the game. I was in the bottom of piles pinching guys and digging my fingers in places that was uncomfortable. I was trying to get them to shove me once we got up so that my team got 15, and I've got a mental edge on you now. But I just thought it was punk behavior. I don't think Dak's going to be held accountable for it at all. And that's just the way it is. So in terms of the game tonight, I think it's going to be an exciting one. I think we might see these defenses show up a little more than the pundits might think. I'm sure the over-under total for tonight's game is sky high. I bet it's at least 47.5 points. I haven't looked at it, so I don't know. But I think that expectations are high for Justin Herbert and the Chargers. You've got Najee Harris as their bell cow back now. He made his exit from Pittsburgh in the offseason, giving way for Jalen Warren to finally get a shot to be the guy in Pittsburgh. Jalen Warren, I've believed for years, has been a starting back and just hasn't gotten the opportunity because Najee Harris himself is a great player. So it'll be interesting to see how the Chargers' run game benefits from having him back there. I'm interested to see if Ladd McConkey is able to elevate himself to an even higher level of play than he was able to last year. I don't know if they've still got that receiver out of TCU, Quentin Johnson. Guy's a scrub. Can't put his paws around the ball to save a family of 6. You know, I remember watching him in the national championship game against Georgia. I went to Los Angeles, California with my cousins who are TCU people and just watched Georgia absolutely murder the shit out of TCU and Quentin Williams, I can't remember. He's got dreads, black guy. I remember this college football semifinal game when TCU beat Michigan in the Fiesta Bowl. That was here in Glendale, Arizona. He balled out. That, I believe the film from that game alone is what got him. I'm sure he's got other bodies of work that allowed him to become a pro, but that game alone, he had some great film. But in the NFL, he just hasn't translated. I believe they still have Keenan Allen. The Chargers are always a team that are kind of on the fringe of discussion, but they've never really been able to materialize any kind of success. Jim Harbaugh will sing the praises of Justin Herbert until he's blue in the face. In fact, Jim Harbaugh told the press that the reason Justin Herbert hasn't had more success is because his teammates around him have not played to the level that Justin Herbert plays at. I mean, if there's anybody that has a hard-on for Justin Herbert, it's Jim Harbaugh. And I guess if you think about it, that's the way it should be. Your head coach should be having the most blood flow for their quarterback of anybody in the world. And I'm tempted to just talk about my Bengals every episode, by the way. Speaking of blood flow, I'm just fired up to watch Joe Burrow play football again. We got to keep him healthy. We've got arguably the best offensive line in front of Joe Burrow that we've ever had before. The fact that Lucas Patrick is starting at right guard week 1 over Dalton Risner is kind of crazy, but also it's not the craziest thing considering Dalton Risner just came on board week and a half, 2 weeks ago. But I would say for the Cincinnati Bengals, weeks 1 and 2 might be the most pivotal games of the season based on recent history. Might be the most pivotal games of the year. Really, factually, I believe that to be true. But it's going to be up to the LA Chargers tonight to establish the run game with Najee Harris. I would imagine that Najee Harris is going to be involved in the passing game as well. Dare I say Najee Harris's skills as a pass catcher are a bit underrated. I love Najee Harris on a slip screen. I love Najee Harris on a swing route or an arrow route. The guy's able to make plays in space off checkdowns. I think that's exactly what Justin Herbert's been missing in the last few years. Keenan Allen's getting old. I just don't know if we can rely on production from Keenan Allen at this phase of his career. It's not personal. He's a great player, was a great player, might still be a great player. I mean, he's a starting receiver in the National Football League. But again, we mentioned this yesterday with Amari Cooper, Russell Wilson. It just gets to a point where if you get on the back 9 holes of your career, you're not physically able to do what you once were when you were a heralded superstar. And so I think Keenan Allen, again, I hope the guy proves me wrong, but I'm not going to say he's where he's at based on clout at this point. I'm sure he's still a hell of a player. You think Hampton will take the bulk of the snaps? Tell me more. Hampton. I'm trying to think who Hampton is. Forgive me for not knowing ball here. I was forgetting about Najee Harris there for a little bit until I did some reading about this game coming up. The thing is, like I said, Najee Harris, I think, was sorely needed in this LA Chargers offense. So we will see. Again, there's a lot of variables in this game, being that it is in Brazil. Hampton's a rookie RB they picked up or drafted. I'd have to do my research on him. I haven't looked in. I don't know who he is yet. Hopefully that changes. The Chiefs are going to chief, though. Listen, I think Chiefs witchcraft has been a real thing over the course of these last 4 or 5 years. I think it is starting to subside. I think watching that Super Bowl last year, people reveled in the downfall of the Chiefs, just like people are reveling in the downfall of the Alabama Crimson Tide. And now, it's really, listen, when you're a champ, when you win the world championship, regardless of what organization you are, you're on the mountaintop, people are going to want to start to see your downfall. I hope that's the case with my Cincinnati Bengals this season. I hope that's the case with Joe Burrow this season. I saw one guy on Twitter, Ari Meirov, they're sacrificing people under the stadium or something. Yeah, they have Taylor Swift drink the blood of whoever they're sacrificing, and then they kind of take it from there. It's the end of the week, man. I'm so fired up that football's back. We do this show Monday through Friday. That's the way we're doing it. But I would be remiss to not mention to y'all that I might be so fired up after a Sunday of games that we do a emergency podcast here and there after everything's said and done on a given week. College football too, We talked about it yesterday, but the way the college game is changing, if you want to see my rant about the state of college football and the transfer portal, after this episode's done, go check out yesterday's episode. And we went in depth on that. And, you know, so I watch college football. I could have done a better job of watching it last season, so I'm doing a better job of watching it this season. And I'm actually headed to the Ole Miss LSU game later this month. That'll be pretty badass. Gonna watch my Sanford Bulldogs play against Texas A&M, my alma mater, place I played at. We got Texas A&M in November as well, so we're arranging a trip out there. So, yeah, I'll tell you what, man. I think college football is going to get fixed. It's just all about this goddamn transfer portal. Because there's no fear of the bench. There's no fear of the bench anymore in college football. If a guy gets yelled at, chewed out, benched, he's just going to transfer. You got to take that away, especially if you think about the fact that the transfer portal rules that we have now were put in place to accommodate for the COVID situation. So I'm trying to think, man, is there anything else? I feel bad. Let's see. Okay. Not much. It's end of the week. We've kind of covered everything. Yeah, I'll tell you, last night was an interesting game. I'm sweating like a freaking whore in church, by the way. I'm in Phoenix, Arizona, and the AC is too loud and affects the quality of this podcast, affects the quality of the audio. So I turn the AC off for every episode. And when we get to about minute 30, minute 29, minute 37, I start to sweat a little bit. You guys see that? Check me out real quick if you're watching the video. So I'm sweating like a whore in church. I feel like I'm in a sauna right now trying to figure this shit out. Yeah, I'm just trying to think. What else, man? I don't want to drag it out, waste y'all's time. I'm looking at Colts Jim Harbaugh right now. I got him framed up in my studio here from when I worked in Indy. When I worked for the Colts, I worked at the facility every day. It was really cool. It was a year of my life that was really cool. And I remember the COO, I won't name drop him, but I believe he's still there. The COO of the Colts, he used to shoot me and my team emails in the middle of the day when there was some dead time, and he would just say, break room. And so I would pop up the second I got that email, and this happened a couple of times, and in the break room, there would just be leftover memorabilia sitting on the table to be taken. This football was one of those things. This football was the Super Bowl. This was the Malcolm Butler Super Bowl in Glendale, Arizona. It was the Malcolm Butler Super Bowl. And so that ball was something that I got as a result of the Colts COO shooting us an email and he was just sitting on the break table for the taking. Jim Harbaugh framed game day Colts. I guess it's supposed to be, I don't know what it is. It's Vikings versus Colts from back when Jim Harbaugh was the quarterback. And, we got plenty of other memorabilia from that year of working there. But that's part of why I feel like, I wasn't the type of player, I wasn't a good enough player to ever have a chance to play at the professional level. But I've been in college facilities and I've spent time in pro facilities too. So that's why I like coming on here and talking about it. I feel like that's what gives me the credibility to come on here and talk football every day. So I feel like everything that's going on in terms of us talking about it is probably kind of tired at this point in the week. Let's just see what happens this weekend. Let's see what unfolds. And we're going to come back stronger, harder, better on Monday. Might have an emergency episode. If the Bengals lose, you will definitely see an emergency episode going up on Sunday live here on YouTube or Kick or Twitch. Hell, if you want to listen to it afterwards in the car, we're on Spotify, we're on Amazon Music, wherever, Audible, wherever the hell you get your shit, we're on there. And speaking of that, I'm going to have to rip the MP3 file from this YouTube video because I forgot to click record. But yeah, my phone's on 5%. And I feel like there's not much more to talk about. We just gotta wait and see. Frankly, man, this game tonight, it's just not getting me riled up like I'd like it to. It's just, I know it's going to be a fun game. AFC West matchup. The international component kind of makes me, as you guys have been able to hear. But we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. But I'm going to hop off here. Look out for a Madden stream, if not right after this, here in an hour or two. So if you're watching this and you're not subbed to the channel, click that button. I think it's right up here. Click that button, subscribe. Doesn't cost you anything. Helps us out a ton. And we're bringing the best football content to you, the realest football content to you every mother effing day. All right? Much love, Bennett. Appreciate you tuning in, engaging in the chat. Yeah, I'll see you guys on the stream later today. And if you can't pop on the stream today, we'll see you Monday for the next show here. Have a hell of a weekend. Let's get it popping, boys. Let's enjoy this weekend. And appreciate anybody that's tuned in, watching here live. We're going to continue to keep coming back, bringing you guys the best in the business, the realest. And we might start bringing on some guests as well, some UFC guys, some NFL guys, to chime in on what we're talking about. Much love. I appreciate you so very much.